So I thought that we were going to be in store for a more comic accurate positive change with the up and coming Spider-Man brand new day. But I should have just stuck to my guns, because what we're getting is not comic accurate. And not only that, it's also filled with fake Punisher, feminist bitch, and maybe even a race swap of a classic character. But before we get into it, if you like these type of videos and you agree with what I say, maybe consider subscribing or supporting me over on Patreon. So I've talked a small bit about Tom Holland's Spider-Man movies before, and I'll just be honest, he's the worst Spider-Man, and all of his movies are the worst Spider-Man movies. I really do hate The Amazing Spider-Man 1, and although part 2 is a lot better, it still has its problems. But still, all that aside, the Andrew Garfield movies beat Tom Holland's Spider-Man, because Tom Holland's Spider-Man is this squeaky voiced kid by some ugly bitch Zendaya who should not be playing Mary Jane Watson. And please don't come at me with that bullshit of she's not even playing MJ, she's playing Michelle Jones. Stop coping. You know what it is. They want to destroy the original characters and source material. So they make Spider-Man into a weak and then they take Peter Parker's biggest love interest, Mary Jane Watson, and they turn her from a hot redhead into a race swap bitch who looks like an 11-year-old boy from the slums of Brazil. But even though all of those movies sucked, I was being positive about Brand New Day, which is a really crappy title, by the way. But yeah, I was being hopeful. We're gonna get a Spider-Man movie that has him in the blue and red costume, and maybe he might be acting like the actual character of Spider-Man. And who knows, maybe that might be the case. I don't really care, because everything else in the movie sounds garbage. So you had the usual lies here. Spider-Man Brand New Day will be like a comic book brought to life. And yeah, the suit is probably the best Tom Holland suit and one of the best Spider-Man suits in the last few years. But by God, are people hyping this up? Like I'll show on screen right now, there were some leaked set photos and people were just losing their minds. I mean real cringe queers all over Twitter saying aura and this is gonna be peak, it's gonna be fire. Is it just me, or with these brand new superhero movies like Superman, Fantastic Four, Batman Part 2, and now this, there's a massive movement on the internet hyping this crap up, and it all feels super fake, like these people are being paid or something to make the movie sound amazing. And as I say all the time, Marvel and DC are basically dead, so I don't think it would be out of the picture to create a big load of fake hype around a movie. Like legitimately, calm the hell down. It's not that good. It's still Tom Holland, the gay weak Brit underneath the costume. Just because he's standing up in a crowd of people does not make it comic accurate, and by God, it does not make it good. Case in point, Florence Pugh's Yelena will reportedly star in, hold up, I'm gonna have to stop you right there. Why on God's green earth are we referring to her character as Florence Pugh's Yelena? Florence Pugh is some 4 out of 10 bitch I don't give a crap about. I don't go to see a Spider-Man movie to see some bullshit character who should not be anywhere near Spider-Man. You haven't even gotten the character of Peter Parker or Mary Jane Watson down properly, and now you're bringing in Florence Pugh's Yelena. I don't know one thing about this character. I didn't watch Thunderbolts. It was a load of shit. So sorry, but real comic book fans and fans of Spider-Man don't really give a crap about Yelena, some character who has nothing got to do with Spider-Man. And this is a very common issue with superhero movies and these big companies. They can't even get one character right, but yet they add in millions of characters into one movie. Like Avengers Endgame, you couldn't even get Iron Man correct, and now you're making a big epic movie. And we already know that Hulk is going to be in this, which is another character that they just totally effed up. But the biggest fuck up out of Marvel has been the character of Frank Castle, the Punisher. Now I do have some videos about Punisher comics that you should read if you do have an interest in the character. But to tell you the truth, the Punisher is not one of my favorite comic book characters. The idea of him is really cool. He's Paul Kersey from Death Wish, this stone cold vigilante mixed with an action hero like Rambo. He also takes inspiration from hard-boiled pulp characters like the Executioner. He should literally be the best character of all time. But trust me, he really isn't. From his many different comic runs, only a few are really that good. Like Jim Lee's Punisher War Journal, although flawed, has some great issues. And the same goes for the work by Mike Zeck and Chuck Dixon. Now, out of all of those runs spanning from the 80s to the 90s, one thing can be agreed on. Punisher is a hero. That's just a plain fact. It was that way in the original Mike Baron run, it was that way in the Jim Lee run, and it was that way in the Chuck Dixon run. And also in the Punisher graphic novels, which most people do not know about because all they read is the crappy, subverted Garth Ennis run that made Frank Castle into a psychopath, which he most certainly isn't. The character was not that way for a good 10 years. Now I could make a full series, I don't know if you guys even want to see that, of comic characters that were ruined by the movies and later comics that changed and retconned characters to become woke and something that they aren't. Characters like the Guardians of the Galaxy, Moon Knight, Daredevil. And the Punisher is a big one, but the worst portrayal of the character of all time is John Bernthal. Now I won't get into this too much because YouTube does not really like it, but Frank Castle is Italian. And if you do your research, John Bernthal is not. John Bernthal would be more suited to play, I don't know, the Thing. I'll just leave it at that. But all that aside, the dude just does not look like the Punisher at all. And newsflash to all these people who love the Punisher TV show and love his appearance in Daredevil, he doesn't act like the character either. Freaking out, having mental breakdowns and twitching like a retard is not the Punisher. And unfortunately, he's gonna be in Spider-Man Brand New Day. And just take a look at the picture. Now people are hyping this up, calling it comic accurate. I don't know what part of this is comic accurate. All I see is a retard with a shitty Punisher logo, a shitty beard, and a haircut that needs to come down out of the sky. The Punisher is a vigilante. He's not the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Why the hell does he have a flat top? Actually, what am I saying? The Punisher in his own show as well had this massive curly afro for some reason. Why is it so hard to get the character's haircut, shave off the beard, create the proper costume from the comics with a trench coat, and dual wield two massive guns? He only did it like one time at the end of season 2. For the rest of it, he was doing his usual shtick, twitching and freaking out like a mental retard. If I was in charge of this movie, I would just reject him straight away. Nope, the Punisher does not have big curly afro hair. He doesn't have a beard. And he's got some handicap who freaks out every 5 seconds. Just watch First Blood if you want to know what Frank Castle is. He's the same character as Rambo. He's a hero. He might be damaged and he might do some stuff that isn't exactly morally perfect, but he is a hero. And that's the end of the line with the Punisher. Anybody saying otherwise has not read the 80s and 90s comics. And now onto a casting that could lead to a potential race swap. So some random black guy, I don't know who the hell he is, I don't really care, is playing a villain in Spider-Man Brand New Day. And people are theorizing, saying he could play Tombstone or the Prowler. And who knows, maybe that might happen. But knowing Marvel, they're gonna try to make it as woke as possible. And this retard on Twitter with 15,000 spastics liking this post just proved my point. But would this not be elite casting for Norman Osborne? No, it wouldn't. Norman Osborne is white. That guy is black. Do you have eyes or are you retarded? What the hell's going on? 15,000 likes as well. That really does tell you the truth. It just shows you the people out there who believe this kind of shit.
Thinking about Tramel Tillman getting a play with Norman Osborne, mainly Norman Osborne, but giving us little hints and teases at what his Goblin could be like is just some shit in my brain that is making me moist.
What?
If this guy's being cast as a black character, perfect. If he's Norman Osborn, then you're gonna lose a lot of fans. That cringe gay TV show, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, when you start making Norman Osborn and beloved classic Spider-Man characters black, gay, race-swapped, feminist, nobody likes it. It's why that show sucked, and it's why Tom Holland's Spider-Man has always sucked. And I just saw this tweet here. I don't know what on earth it even means, but it says that Tom Holland's second Spider-Man trilogy will be his last. Just hold on a second. I'm surprised that he even got a trilogy in the first place when nobody ever liked this guy. But he might be getting a second trilogy. But who am I kidding? We all knew that this is what they were gonna do. Race swap beloved characters and just destroy and go against the source material. Everything that just came out about this movie has ruined it for me. I'm not gonna see it. I don't give a crap about it. And I don't think any real comic book fan will. Spider-Man is the classic character from the comics. He's not weak. He's not gay. If you're a real fan of the character, then you already know that from reading the classic Steve Ditko run where Spider-Man is the this commie punching badass. The closest we ever got to the classic Spider-Man depicted on screen was Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy. And why was that? Because there was actually respect for the comics. Because the people in the movie looked like the characters. And because Sam Raimi is a legendary director that made horror masterpieces and knew how to make a movie. Who is directing any of this new garbage? Whoever it is, screw your Spider-Man movie. It's gay and retarded. So if you agree with anything I said in this video, and if you're a real fan of Spider-Man, do let me know and maybe consider subscribing. And if you got a problem with anything I said, go complain to your boyfriend.